Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We are live, joined with Ben yet again, and we're going to be reviewing our first round NBA draft predictions, mock draft, I should say. Sorry, my grammar sucks right now. I'll move it a little bit closer. Maybe that will help. Golden State Warriors have the first pick. We are using the order right now.
The current standings.
The current standings, yeah. Of course, they will change with the lottery and the teams from 9 through 14, what happens in their games. But regardless, here we go. Number 1, I had James Wiseman. The Warriors need a center. He had a pretty solid few games at Memphis, solid enough to be chosen over LaMelo and Anthony Edwards. Ben?
I was going back and forth between LaMelo and James Wiseman. But I think LaMelo, I get that they need a center. LaMelo fits the Warriors system. He's a playmaker. He would be great as like an option off the bench or even late in the year, maybe starting alongside Curry and Thompson. We'll see what happens.
Number 2, Cleveland Cavaliers. I have Obi Toppin, a dude who I don't love, but I think makes the most sense for the Cavs. I don't think they'll have Kevin Love going into next year. I think they'll trade him or he'll get a buyout, something of that nature. I think Obi Toppin really fits their system. He played college ball at Dayton, nearby to Cleveland. And I don't know, I think he reminds me of LeBron a little bit. Definitely not as talented, of course, but he plays ball like LeBron.
That's an interesting comp.
It is an interesting comp. He's nowhere near as talented, but his play style is similar.
I had Onyeka Okongwu. I initially put down Isaac Okoro, but I think Okongwu, I don't know if Drummond's going to stay in the Cavs, and I don't think he's a long-term fit for the Cavs. Okongwu could be their center of the future, so I think that would be a decent pick for them. If they don't, they could also take James Wiseman, but he's not. I don't know. I went with Okongwu for this one.
I would have went with Wiseman there, if he's available, of course. I also want to say to the LaMelo Ball Golden State Warriors, the Warriors traded D'Lo, knowing LaMelo would be up here, seeing his success in Australia. And Klay Thompson can play the 3. Andrew Wiggins can even play the 4. That'd be a small ball lineup. But LaMelo has played a little bit of shooting guard before. So, just something to point out there. Number 3, Ben and I both had Anthony Edwards.
I think that's a no-brainer.
2/3 from Athens, Georgia. I really think whoever gets this pick, Atlanta or Minnesota, will take him. I think he fits both of them very well. But, of course, in the current standings, Minnesota has that first chance at him.
I think if Minnesota or Atlanta falls number 1 in the lottery, they would take Anthony Edwards. But yeah, because he just fits both teams. They need a shooting guard. He can really be that shooting guard of the future. So yeah.
Number 4, this was sad for me to say. I had Isaac Okoro going to the Atlanta Hawks. I'm a huge Isaac Okoro fan. Ben has made me like him even more as well. I think he'd fit the Bulls well, but if the Hawks have a pick before them and Anthony Edwards is already off the board, I think there's no doubt in my mind they wouldn't take him. He's from Georgia. They need a shooting guard and a small forward. The Hawks don't have a bad team. I really think the Hawks could make a run in a few years with Trae Young being that number 1 guy. I think he can lead a team to a chip in a few years, and I really like Isaac Okoro going to the Hawks.
Yeah, the Hawks are a team that really needs defense, and this is the best defensive player in the draft. So that would be a great fit for them if they got him.
Number 5, I had Killian Hayes. Killian Hayes, I'm not a huge fan of, but the Pistons love overseas players. Sekoy Doucouré? I don't know how to say his last name, but he was the lottery pick last year. From France. Prior teammates with Killian Hayes, good friends as well. They played in the Premier French League with each other. Also played on the French national team. I really think the Pistons like Killian Hayes from what I've heard, and I think he'll be there at 5. Might be a little bit of a reach, but I think it'll happen.
I think if this is how the draft plays out, the Pistons won't be in the they'll be comfortable either trading down or trading the pick away. I don't think they'll love any of the picks here.
All right, number 6, LaMelo Ball. I think LaMelo Ball could end up anywhere from 1 through 7. I don't think he'll drop past 7. I think this was a little low. I think talent-wise, he's definitely a top 2 or 3 player. I have him ending up in New York, though. I don't know the way the cards fell. But yeah, I have LaMelo Ball going to the New York Knicks.
I have the Knicks going with Denny Avdija. They also seem to like their international guys. RJ Barrett's Canadian, not really international, but also taking Frank Ntilikina. And this is a pick that kind of fits the Knicks. He can shoot. He's a playmaking bigger guy. I think that he'll go anywhere from 5 through 10, and I think the Knicks will be happy if they get him.
All right, number 7. The Chicago Bulls will make their selection. Ben and I both have them not making a selection, trading the pick. This is interesting because the Bulls usually stick their ground, take their pick, other than the Lauri Markkanen year. We were a little bit lower that year. We were at 14 and ended up selecting Justin Patton to trade him. But still, this is definitely weird for Chicagoans, or Chicago Bulls fans, I should say. I really don't remember a year we've traded our first-round pick or our first pick in the draft. But I don't know. I just think the Bulls need a veteran, all-star caliber small forward or center, and I think it'll work out. Trading for a guy like DeMar DeRozan or Tobias Harris, the Spurs could definitely use a pick this high. Maybe get Denny Avdija if he's still on the board. I know they're really, really high on him. Killian Hayes, an overseas guy. We know the Spurs love overseas guys.
Like the French point guards.
But if Killian Hayes or Denny Avdija is still here, I would not be surprised if the Spurs send us DeMar DeRozan for this pick. I really would not be surprised if that happened.
I wouldn't love that trade.
I would. I love DeMar DeRozan, and I think he's a few more years in his prime. Anyways, number 8, Charlotte Hornets. Onyeka Okongwu is my pick. I'm not a huge fan on him. I know Ben likes him a lot more than I do. But I think this makes sense. The Hornets need a center. They have P.J. Washington at the 4, Devontae Graham at the 2. Actually, I don't even know. I'm not an NBA complete geek, but all I know is they need a center, and Onyeka Okongwu is still available for me here at 8. Ben?
Let's just say the Hornets starting center last year was Bismack Biyombo. They need a center. James Wiseman is a perfect fit for Charlotte at this point. He could have maybe gone with the Cavs or the Warriors, but I think after that point, he can realistically fall all the way down to the Hornets because they're the next team that really needs a center. And I think they'd be thrilled to land him here. I'm not sure he'll fall this far, but this is a great pick if they get him here.
All right, number 9, the Washington Wizards. A team in an interesting spot. Do they tank? Do they try to contend? If I were them, I would tank, trade Bradley Beal and John Wall. But I'm not sure if they'll take that direction. With this pick in mind, I said they did. I think if they're trying to contend for another year, they'd trade this pick for a veteran. But let's say they are tanking. I think they're going to take Denny Avdija from Israel if he's still left. I think he's a higher talent than this. I think he fits their system. They like overseas guys as well. But yeah, I have them taking Denny Avdija at number 9.
I went with Tyrese Halliburton out of Iowa State, one of my favorite players. And I think the Wizards are probably going to try to move on from John Wall, unless he's great. But I think this could be their point guard of the future. Maybe pair him with Bradley Beal. He would work well because he doesn't need the ball in his hands all that much. He's a great facilitator. So this would be a great pick if they're considering keeping Beal and getting rid of Wall. All
right, number 10, Phoenix Suns. I have Tyrese Halliburton. the point guard out of Iowa State. Ben and I both like Tyrese. Um, I think the Suns are in an interesting spot. They have a lot of good players at all their positions, and I feel like Tyrese would add on to that. I wouldn't be surprised if they trade the pick, as Ben predicted, but I think Tyrese Halliburton will play well in the Phoenix Suns system. I think he's the typical point guard that can facilitate the ball well to Devin Booker and get it down low to DeAndre Ayton. But yeah, Ben.
The Suns really need a more veteran player. They're really young. Booker, Ayton, they just have a lot of young talent, and I could see them trading this pick away to a team that is more looking for the future, for just to try to get better in the present, because they're almost at the point where they can consider contending. They just need one piece, I think, and they can use this pick to trade for that piece.
All right, number 11. The San Antonio Spurs make their pick. Now, this might have been the biggest reach
This shocks me.
out of
This
all
shocks me.
my
This shocks
top
me.
30 selections. But I took Leskej Pusviki from Serbia. I actually think I pronounced that right. I've seen him going to the Spurs everywhere. I can't tell you how many mock drafts, how many rumors I've seen about this. I think he's a near perfect fit, other than maybe Killian Hayes, Denny Advasia, or Denny Vassell, or Devin Vassell, who Ben predicted. But I don't know. I have a feeling the Serbian center will be taken higher than many people are saying right now. I do think he'll be a lottery pick. And I'm not sure if Devin Vassell will. I feel like Devin Vassell might fall to maybe the 20s, where the Spurs, I believe, have another selection. Ben?
So I thought the Spurs, this is a player that's kind of their DNA. He's a grit and grind type player. Doesn't score a lot, but he can shoot well, and he's great on the defensive end. I think Popovich can turn him into a really good player. I'm not saying I'd compare him to Kawhi, but he has similar characteristics. So I like this. I like Vassell going to the Spurs. I don't know if they'd be able to get him in the 20s. It's possible, but I have him picking him here.
Defensively, he is very similar. And I think that's Devin Vassell's whole thing. It's his defense.
Yeah, and,
I don't
and
know if
also
I'd
41%.
pick a dude.
He was a 41%
Yeah.
three-point shooter at Florida State. That's pretty good. All right, 12.
Number 12, Sacramento Kings. I have them trading the pick. I really think the Kings have a decent team, but I think they do need another veteran guy. Or they trade down, get maybe 2 first-rounders, get some picks for some other years. I don't know. I don't think they'll end up making this pick for some reason or another. Maybe boosting their bench a little bit, but I don't know. I just don't have the Kings making the selection at 12. Ben?
Well, I had the Kings taking Obi Toppin for a few reasons. One, he would clearly be one of the best players left on the board at this point, and two, if he could figure out how to shoot, he could play the small forward position, and they really haven't had a great small forward. That's like one of the pieces they're missing right now. I think Harrison Barnes. They've used Iman Shumpert over the years. Like, that's been the one spot where they need someone, and I think if he can get his shot going, he could become that player that they need. So
I was gonna put a guy like R.J. Hampton, Josh Green, Precious Achiuwa, someone I saw there.
I've thought about putting Precious there.
Obi is definitely a better player, but if you are the Sacramento Kings, you just paid Harrison Barnes all that money for a long time. Are you really going to use your first pick in the draft
to find
on a player that rivals him? I don't know.
I mean, it's possible. It's a good point, but I don't see it from Harrison Barnes. He has his stats are good, but just nothing really pops on the court. I don't know. I don't love him, so I think this is a pick where they can maybe trade him away and have Obi being there, but we'll see.
Number 13, the New Orleans Pelicans. I have them trading the pick, back-to-back trade picks for me. I really like the Pelicans team. I think they can also contend in a few years. The NBA is so stacked right now. Brandon Ingram, they have Zion. The only position they're lacking at is shooting guard. JJ Redick and Josh Hart currently man that. I'm a big Josh Hart guy. Love Josh Hart. But I just didn't see a really, really good shooting guard left on the board. That fits them, right? Devin Vassell, maybe. RJ Hampton, Josh Green, maybe. Aaron Nesmith. But I feel like if I had to guess, they would trade up. They would trade up to take a guy. I don't know. I'm kind of throwing a name out here. Anthony Edwards. I mean, that would take a lot. But I just don't see Isaac Okoro fitting well in their system, and I see Anthony Edwards fitting well. I don't know.
So you think they'll trade?
I think they'll trade up. Yeah.
I could see them trading, but they also have to start looking for a point guard. Drew Holiday, he's good, but he is getting older. His stats are declining. His speed is diminished a little bit. I think they could consider taking a point guard that they will try to mold for their future. I know Lonzo, but I could see them going with. I'm not.
Lonzo
I don't love Lonzo. I could see them going with Killian Hayes here. He would be one of the best players left on the board as well. So that's another good thing that they could get. That's good value for them here. He doesn't need the ball a lot. Can facilitate to Brandon Ingram, to Zion. And he's tall. He's similar to Lonzo, honestly. But I think he could develop a better shot. I think he'd just become kind of like a better Lonzo. I wouldn't say that yet, obviously, but we'll see.
All right. Last pick of the lottery, the Portland Trailblazers. I have Cole Anthony, which many people might not agree with this pick. Comment who you would pick here at 14. If anyone will comment on this video. I have the Trailblazers taking Cole Anthony. Just on the fact that Dame Dollar is getting older. I think Cole Anthony would really fit well in their system as a 6th or 7th man. Give him time to develop, get over his injuries, perfect his game a little bit more. And I was really debating them trading the pick, but I already took 2 back-to-back trade picks. Y'all are going to get bored if I just keep having these teams trade their picks. So I have them taking Cole Anthony at 14, rounding out the lottery.
All right. Well, I got Aaron Nesmith, one of my favorite players, Aaron Nesmith or Nesmith. She got out of Vanderbilt. The Trailblazers kind of lack outside shooting other than Damian Lillard on their team. CJ McCollum, I love him. He is not a good three-point shooter. And I think as a kind of backup option or even slide him in a small forward, Nesmith fills that void. 52% three-point shooter, Vanderbilt can clearly fill it up. And he's a player I could see the Trailblazers taking because of his potential as just a sniper.
All right, 15. I have the Orlando Magic taking Josh Green from Arizona. I can see Josh Green rocking the Magic jersey right now. I think him and Aaron Gordon, a prior Arizona Bearcat alum, would just be a perfect fit. I'm not a huge Josh Green fan, but I think with the right team and with the right players around him, he can be a solid guy. I don't think he'll ever be an all-star, but I think he can be a solid starter, and I think this is a very okay pick for the Magic. I just don't see anything else being better than this.
I do. I think that they need a point guard, or I could see them taking RJ Hampton.
RJ Hampton's more shooting guard.
He's listed as a point guard. I've seen him listed as a point guard at almost every major site, so I put him as a point guard. And if he's a point guard, he's a tall guy. He still has a lot of potential, even though he didn't have the greatest time in Australia. I could really see him blossoming, especially because the Magic right now have Markelle, but Markelle, I don't know. I don't love it. He can't shoot at all. And DJ Agustine's kind of getting on the older side. So I think they could consider taking a point guard here, and RJ Hampton's one of the best on the board. And
Fair,
if you think
fair.
he's shooting, if you think he's a shooting guard, that still works. So that's what I have.
All right. Number 16, the Minnesota Timberwolves. I had them taking Devin Vassell. I don't see him dropping too far. I said earlier he might drop to the 20s. I think if the T-Wolves have already picked Anthony Edwards, they need some defense. Now, I get they play the same positions. I really think they need a 2 and a 3. And why not address both of those needs right here? So I have the T-Wolves taking Devin Vassell. Ben? Ben, did we lose you?
I lost you. I'm back.
All right,
So we're at the Celtics? No, we're at the T-Wolves. All right.
Timberwolves.
I have the Timberwolves going with Precious. They need someone. He's a project. We'll admit he's a little bit of a project, but if he could eventually fill a role that the Timberwolves have missed for almost their entire existence as just an athletic specimen. He can do kind of it all. He can rebound. He can score inside. He has a semblance of a jumper, and he's just a physical freak. So, especially with their lack of anyone really in the small forward or power forward positions, this is a pick that would work for me.
All right. Dropping down one more pick to 17, we have the Boston Celtics. I have them going with a big man. I don't know if Enes Kanter will work out long term. So I have them taking Jalen Smith, the sophomore out of Maryland. I really like Jalen Smith. I like him and Daniel Toru. I just felt like Jalen Smith was overall ranked higher. And that's why I had him going ahead of Daniel Toru and in the end being selected at 17.
The Celtics had one of the worst backup point guard rotations last year in the league. Bradley Wanamaker, he's just not that exciting.
I don't even know if he should. I don't know if he
Be
should
in the
be
NBA.
anywhere.
Yeah, he's just not the greatest ever. And Marcus Smart has kind of blossomed in the shooting guard position. So I think they could go with their point guard, the backup point guard for now, possible point guard of the future if Kemba gets old. Cole Anthony from North Carolina. This might be a little bit low, but I didn't love him, but I could still see him kind of putting up points off the bench in the Kobe White kind of way for the Celtics next year if this was the route they chose to go.
All right, 18 Milwaukee Bucks. I had them taking a point guard slasher from Lexington, Kentucky. Tyrese Maxey. He's definitely athletic. Can put points up fast. Can shoot it from deep. His defense is a little bit of a question mark, but I think that's what the Bucks need. Eric Bledsoe is definitely solid. I think he'll remain in that starting point guard position, but I think Tyrese Maxey would get some good energy off the bench to a title contending Bucks team. Best case scenario next year, probably playing the 6th or 7th man role.
I just have a problem with Maxey. His lack of shooting or his lack of consistency last year from beyond the arc. He shot like below 30%. I can't, and lack of defensive, like just his lack of defense and lack of shooting make me hard for me to see him going to the Bucks, a team that kind of values both of those things. I had Josh Green, an Arizona shooting guard. He was really hyped going into the year. Didn't have the best year, but still is kind of. He has a lot of good things going for him. He's very good on defense. He has a decent looking shot. I don't know what was going on. The stats weren't great, but I could see him blossoming under the Bucks. They seem to get the most out of their shooting guards. DiVincenzo, Pat Connaughton, those type players. So I could see him kind of overtaking those guys in the Bucks.
I think the Bucks would be definitely a good fit for Josh Green. I just think Tyrese Maxey can be a really good player. I don't know All-Star caliber. I wouldn't be shocked. But I think he could have a transition. Maybe not to the complete level that Trae Young and Steph Curry did from college to the league. Of course, they put up better numbers in college and are very, 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 very good NBA players. But I understand the consistency question mark, but that wasn't a huge issue for me. He was battling a bunch of guards at Kentucky. It was his freshman year. I don't know. I still like Maxey. 19, Brooklyn Nets. I have them taking Xavier Tillman, power forward from Michigan State. I think the Nets are in a very good spot. Wouldn't be shocked if they actually trade this pick. I think getting a little bit of an older guy, play at least 15 minutes a game, can play offense and defense very well. He's a very good defensive player. And yeah, I'm a big Xavier Tillman guy. I have him going 19 here. Ben?
I had the Nets going with Patrick Williams, small forward, power forward at Florida State. He is more of a project, and I think by next year the Nets will be in win now mode, so they can afford to wait on Patrick Williams a little bit. They're not rebuilding. They don't need any young guns right away. They'll have KD back. They'll have Kyrie, hopefully. And I think that Patrick Williams could become a good defensive player, a good 3-and-D type bigger guy. And I think that's what the Nets kind of value. So I think he would be a decent pick.
I'd also like to say I'm pretty sure no one will be 27 minutes into this video watching this, but Ben and I have not talked about this yet, but if coronavirus, if it gets better and whatever, we could even do it virtual. Ben, I'd love to do a NBA draft viewing party on Chi-Town Sports Live. At least the lottery. I think that'd be pretty sick.
Yeah, that would
when the draft is. But yeah, I think that'd be awesome. Yeah, I just an idea.
That's a good idea. That's a good idea. I have about 5 minutes left, so let's try to go through these.
Precious Achiuwa, we'll speed run it. Power forward from Memphis, big athletic guy. Ben has them trading the pick. 21, Dallas Mavericks. I have Aaron Nesmith, the 3 from Vanderbilt. He can also play the shooting guard. I like him a lot. Ben, what are your thoughts on Saddiq Bey?
Saddiq Bey, I love going to the Mavs. He can do it all, really.
All right, 22, the Memphis Grizzlies. I have RJ Hampton being taken here. I have him listed as at the 2 at the 3. Probably should have put him at the 1 as well. I was debating doing that. I think he's a good fit here for the Grizzlies.
I have Jamius Ramsey, Texas Tech shooting guard. He can play the shooting guard position. No one on the Grizzlies really right now at that position impresses me. I think this would fill a need for them.
Kind of shocked Ben had Saddiq Bey going before I did, but it happened.
I was shocked as well.
Nuggets. I think the Nuggets and Saddiq are a great fit, and I'm a big fan of this selection. Ben has them trading the pick.
I have them trading the pick. I don't think they need anyone right now.
Miami Heat, I have them trading the pick. Just as Ben said, I don't think they need anyone right now. All they need is some free agent signings. Ben, Theo Maledon, France point guard. He could be a backup initially and maybe work his way. I think Spoelstra could get the most out of him, even though he struggled this past year. All right, 25, the New York Knicks. I have them taking Jamius Ramsey. I think this is a solid pick. Wouldn't be shocked if they trade it, but I have Jamius Ramsey going 25. I have Tyler Bey, Colorado power forward. Power forward position is a position of need for the Knicks right now. And he's more of a project as well, but he could actually become his stats are very impressive, and as is his athleticism. So this is a project pick. At 26, I had the Florida State small forward Patrick Williams. He dropped more than most people would probably think. I would not be shocked if he's a lottery pick. But I have Patrick Williams here going to the Celtics.
I got Jaden McDaniels, power forward from Washington. I don't love him, but I think the Celtics kind of like to take guys that they consider potential stars, and he is actually a potential star, even though stats weren't impressive.
All right. 27, the OKC Thunder. Are them taking Elijah Hughes? Wouldn't be shocked if they trade this pick, but they need a 3, and I think he's a good fit.
I know. I have them taking Corey Kispert. This is similar to how the Cavs last year took Dylan Windler out of Belmont. And Kispert is another 3. They need the 3. He can really fill it up from deep. He doesn't have to shoot. He doesn't have to do much else, but I think that's a good option, especially with Chris Paul handling it for most of the game. He won't need to do much else. So I like him.
A quick comment on this pick. I have seen Kispert being undrafted. I think this is a big reach, but everyone has their own opinions. All right, we got a cap. I won't scroll any more down. 28, Toronto Raptors. I have them trading the pick. Ben?
Jalen Smith, center, Maryland. Their centers are aging. Ibaka and Gasol. This could be a pick for the future.
29, I have Cassius Stanley, the LA native, Sierra Canyon prodigy, Bronny James close friend. I think this pick makes a whole lot of sense. I'd put money that he's a Los Angeles Laker this next year.
We'll see. I have Kira Lewis, Alabama point guard. He fell a little for me. I really like him. So the Lakers, this fills a position of need. They really don't have a point guard on the roster. That really shockingly how bad their point guards on their roster are. This could be a point guard of the future as well, which I've been saying a lot. I'm walking upstairs. We're about to be done.
All right, last pick, Jaden McDaniels, power forward, Washington.
We each had Jaden McDaniels going to the Celtics. I had them taking Alex Edge here. They also need a center. He has potential. He can shoot. I like what he could potentially do in Brad Stevens' system. So,
all right, we'll wrap it up here in a few days.
That's our top
30. Our second round.
What day do you think we'll do that?
See you guys later.
All right, see you guys.
Peace.